the casting director wants you to do well. Like, their job is to bring the best people forward to the director. So they want you to do well. They don't want to have to keep looking. So reminding yourself that when you're submitting is like, it is actually very humbling, because you're like, oh, like, yes, they want to be bringing people that are good. So like, it's so easy to be like, well, there's so many people submitting, it doesn't matter what I do. No, they're asking people to audition because they don't have anyone right now. And they want to be selecting someone. They do want to be watching a tape and be like, oh, thank God, that's exactly what we're looking for. So that is helpful. At least it helps me ground myself when I'm auditioning, because it is so easy to be like lost in a sea of hundreds of people. But ultimately, they need to pick someone. There was a job available.
Welcome back to Inside the Audition, the podcast that helps actors master the art and science of auditions so they can stand out for all the right reasons and none of the wrong reasons and book your next lead role. I'm your host, Joey Freddy Larson. Be sure to connect with me on Instagram at Joey Freddy Larson. Slip into the old DMs. You can ask a question. You can suggest a topic for an upcoming episode, or you can apply to be a guest on a future episode. And remember that in every episode, what do? Well, we dive into audition experience, advice, strategies, insights, inspiring stories from top actors, directors, producers, casting directors, film and theater pros. Whether you're an emerging actor or maybe you're a seasoned vet, this is your backstage pass to audition success. And Inside the Audition is sponsored by the Monologue of the Month Club, your ultimate resource for professional and emerging actors who want to attract agents, casting, and producers, and ultimately book your next lead role. How does it work? Every month, you'll choose a new made-for-you monologue from a curated list that's been delivered to your email inbox. Then you're going to join weekly monologue jams, as well as monthly workshops where you can get professional coaching, personalized feedback, and collaborate with an international community of actors, so that every month you're going to have a new polished monologue that you can use to share on social, to attract an audience, to share with your agent, with your casting directors, with producers, and ultimately lead yourself to that next lead role. So the Monologue of the Month Club is your golden ticket to that next lead role. To start your journey on the way to your next lead role, go to monologueclub.com, monologueclub.com to join the Monologue of the Month Club. Now, today's episode, this is another in our series of Coaches Corner. We're showcasing some of the actors and coaches within Actors Audition Club. Our guest today is a proudly queer, asexual, non-binary, neurodivergent artist who infuses their own life into their art and works from a heart-centered approach, believing that the best work comes from what the individual brings to it. They've trained in musical theater at St. Lawrence College, also improv and sketch with the Second City. Our guest today has developed a lot of their own work, from live theater to short films, and looks forward to bringing an openness and honesty to your work inside Actors Audition Club. Please welcome Hools Kay Wyder.
Hello. Hi.
Nice to see you. You normally go by just Hools Kay?
I'm still figuring it out. I usually, like, my actor is Hools Kay Wyder, like the full thing. But yeah, I just, I answer to Hools. Yeah, little separation. Yeah.
By the way, I told you this when we were first meeting, but Hools is a great name. It's one of the names I've never heard.
Yes.
I guess it's one of those names that's a blessing and a curse, because it's like, yeah, it's cool, but then have you ever just said it and someone's like, Hools, got it? Like, they're like,
I mean, it hasn't come and bit me in the butt yet. I mean, it is like a legal name that I changed from my original name. So it is invented, I guess, rather, but given to me from a friend. Yeah, I haven't gotten to the point yet. It's only been, I think, 2 or 3 years that I've had it legally. So we'll see how long it takes until eventually, like a decade later, they'll be like, Hools, I remember you, and I've forgot that name. So hopefully it doesn't bite me.
How did you land on Hools? Is it derivative of something else?
Yeah, it's derivative. It's no hooligan. No. But I did use that. Yeah, hooligan. I'm a little hooligan. No. It is a derivative of my dead name. But it kind of came out just like in the theater circles that I was in. I come from Thunder Bay, so there was a lot of community theater there that I participated in. And probably since I was like 12 or 13, one of my friends just always called me Hools, until eventually I just had people in my life start calling me Hools, and I was like, oh, I'm just gonna change this legally. Like, I don't. I
Cool.
don't connect to my original name. This makes more sense. So yeah.
Yeah. Reminds me of a name from like Degrassi, like Wheels.
Ah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. Okay, cool. I'll take it. Yeah.
Wheels, Cools, Hools.
Fools. Yeah. Yeah.
So welcome to the podcast.
Thank
Also,
you.
another welcome to Actors Audition Club.
Yeah.
But, first question, I want to throw it out there. Can you share a memorable audition experience specifically, or hopefully something where you learned a lesson because of that experience?
Um I mean, I don't know if I guess it was just like it was probably I would think they're like a theater audition I went out for years ago, but it was that like you have to know your monologue so well when you're auditioning for theater to be prepared at for anything they're going to throw at you. So I remember going in and it was like a very collaborative um piece that they were working on, so they wanted to know that they could work with the actor and, like, just throw anything at them, and I just remember the direction they gave me was, like, completely outside of anything that was happening in the monologue, and had I not, like, known the words so well, the text so well, I don't know if I would have been able to get through it because it was just, like, so out of the word like, they really wanted to just, like, throw a curveball, so I guess if anything, yeah, like, know the piece and feel good about the piece that you're doing, so that you can bring in that, uh, in crazy offer they bring out to you.
Love that. Yeah, when you know it
Mhm.
inside out, when it's really in you, there's nothing that can throw you. You're not going to be rattled. Where they're like,
Mhm.
do this one standing now instead of sitting, and
Mhm.
I only rehearse standing. I don't know what I'm doing now.
Yeah.
That's great. That's a great lesson. How did you get into all this? How did you first start? Take us back
Oof.
to your first.
Yes. I've been acting or performing since I was probably like 5, and that was just because I was very blessed with the school that I went to in Thunder Bay, in the middle of the boonies of Thunder Bay. We weren't even in, like, Thunder Bay itself. We were, like, off the highway, like, way in the middle of nowhere, but the, teachers who were in that school, were just very passionate about art, so I just lucked out, I guess. It was maybe my destiny, I don't know. But from like grade 1 and on, like they had a choir that everyone could participate in. They had a drama club that like did a show every single year. Every other year they did a musical. So I just got involved very soon and I never thought that I would do anything else. Like because I started at such a young age, I was like, this is what I'm doing for the rest of my life. Like, obviously, why would you ask me what else I would do? Like, this is the only answer. And then, yeah, just continued from there, probably much to the chagrin of my father, because I was also like very good at school. So he's like, do something that uses your brain. And I was like, this does use my brain. You don't understand. So then I ended up, yeah, just being very passionate, especially about musicals. I think I like became a musical theater nerd. Like, don't tell any of the education system, but I used all of my scholarship money to go to New York. And I was like, this is valid. I'm going to see musicals. So I was very much obsessed. I had like my whole wall in my bedroom plastered with every playbill I'd seen. So I was like very into musicals. And then after graduating from St. Lawrence, I moved to Toronto pretty much immediately, and then started discovering film. So I like slowly kind of transitioned over to that, and I still have a very strong passion for musical theater. In fact, I go to a queer Broadway karaoke once a month because I love it. But I've also
Karaoke?
Queerioke, yeah. I'll see if I can re-tag that. But yeah, it's still always a part of my life. I'm still like listening to soundtracks. So I'm sure that it annoy. If I lived with a roommate, I'm sure they'd be very annoyed. But as far as film goes, I think I discovered it when I got here and was looking for a job, and my friend was doing background, and she was like, "Oh, this is like a fun thing, and you get paid to like be on set." And I was like, all right, I've never been on a film set, so it's definitely in line with what I want to do. I just don't know anything about film. And then as soon as I got on, I was like, "Oh, this is really cool." Like the amount of collaboration and the amount of different jobs that it requires to make a film is just so fascinating to me. And to this day, like that was probably, I don't know, 12 years ago that I first stepped on a film set, and I was like, it's so cool to me that every single person has their job and then they do that job and like comes out with this beautiful product. And it's such a neat art form that I still am so admirable, even though like the hours and the days that you spend and the time that like is can be so draining. It's still like so magical. And so I eventually decided to start like writing and producing film because I was like, well, no one's going to cast me in anything, so I'll just make my own stuff. Uh, so I've learned a lot by doing that, just throwing myself in. I created a web series. And again, like I jumped into the deep end. I was like, I don't know anything about making film. I'm going to write a 6 episode, 18-minute series and just put it on YouTube and like produced it, like was craft, was location, was art department, the organizing the crew, production manager, as well as acting in it. So it was a big thing that I still to this day don't know how I was able to complete. And it's online only if you it's one of those things that has been on YouTube for so long you can't even search the title and it'll come up. You have to go through my website to find it. But it's still there. We have like 2,000 views. So and I felt that was a great way to just throw myself in, and really I haven't looked back or stopped
I love
doing
that.
it since. Hmm.
Yeah, your passion for the industry and for the arts definitely bleeds through. So if
Thank
anyone
you.
listening, if anyone is wondering, is Who's all in? The answer is yes. What's your favorite musicals? You talked about.
Oh gosh, yeah, I could go off. I mean, my favorite musical is definitely Into the Woods. Actually, as we're here, I'm like, it's literally sitting on my my desk right now. I love that musical so much. And then like modern musicals, I love The Heathers, which is based off of the movie from the '80s. I like, yeah, a lot of Sondheim, probably just like obscure, yeah, Company and little night music and any stuff that's also modern, like Six, the musical's great. Like just musicals, a lot of them. But yeah,
Were your first role when you started at school?
yes, yeah. I was little orphan Molly in the show Annie, and
Nice.
I was the tiniest little thing. I was probably 8 or 9, and I was like, "But I want to be Miss Hannigan," and they're like, "No, no, like." You're not gonna play Miss Hannigan, you're a child. And I've always wanted those like out here loud in your face roles. That's always what I've like really preferred playing. But yeah, that would have been my first musical that I
Little
did.
Little Orphan Molly. Do you
Yeah.
remember any lines?
Oh god, I probably like 12 lines. I had like one solo line in
Do
a
you,
in a
do you
song.
remember them? Do you remember
Oh
them?
gosh.
I want a line. I want to get a
Uh,
line from.
I don't know. There's the like, you're gonna. She like pretends to be Miss Hannigan at one point in the song, and she's like walking across the street, strutting, and she's like, "You're gonna clean this up like it shines like the top of the Chrysler Building." Yeah,
Love it. When's the last
yeah.
time you said those words?
Oh God, probably when I was 10.
Taking you back here. Yes.
Yeah.
So now you're in Toronto.
Mm-hmm.
You started working with us as an audition
Mm,
coach, working with our clients in person. I did a session with the other day. That was
yeah,
great. You
yeah,
also have the opportunity to work with clients virtually.
yep.
When and how did you shift into helping other actors and working with other actors, or any directorial experience that you have? Talk about that.
Yeah. So I was very tentative to go into that direction for a long time because I was like, I'm of the belief that like I don't want to be the smartest person in the room. I can always be learning. So when I think of like director, I'm like, they're the top. They know everything. They know what's going on. That can't be me. And so I just like shut it off for a very long time. And then I can't remember what incident that shifted that, but a few of my friends and I got together because we were like, it's probably near in the middle of the pandemic and things weren't happening, but things were opening up. And so we're like, well, how do we still work on our craft without like getting on set because that's not happening. So we started to do like a weekly scene study where we'd give each other scenes and just like work off each other. And I have this set up here. I have a camera. I've like almost my own kind of studio here. And so it just kind of worked out. And then we started just meeting every other week or so and working on scenes. And even it's funny because my friend that I do it with, Amanda Cordner, who's also a brilliant actor in Toronto, and she was even commenting on it when I mentioned doing the acting coaching for Actors Audition Club. She said it was funny to watch you progress from like you'd sit in the corner, you'd press record on the camera, and then just stand back and be like, I don't know what to say. And then eventually you'd start offering things that like made so much sense as we're like working on things that you clearly had thought of and you were too afraid to say, and then slowly came into that. And then I've really come into my own, I guess, with that of I do. I see things, I watch, and I'm like, oh, it'd be really neat if you do, like, if you could shift here, or like, here's how I'm seeing the breakdown. And also just like doing so many auditions over the years and being like, oh, I know how to read a breakdown so well. I know that's really intimidating for a lot of people. I've worked as a production coordinator. I'm like, I'm aware of all the back end of things, what they're kind of looking for. So it just sort of lined up. And then I've had the opportunity to direct my first short actually at the beginning of this year, and I was like, "Oh no, this is great. I like this. I really like this." So when you posted about looking for coaches, it kind of just like felt very serendipitous as it came online, because I was like, "Oh, this is exactly what I've been kind of working towards." I know, and so I was really grateful to have the opportunity. I'm really excited to be working with you guys.
Yeah, it was great. When we first met and I saw your submission and everything, I loved your energy and was like, oh,
Mhm.
okay, we found a good one here. We've got a
Yeah.
mutual friend too. Shout out to Kelly Taylor. Taylor?
Yes, of course. Yeah, Kelly Taylor. Yeah.
Um, who she's I think just had a one person show,
Yeah.
a theater show. She's incredible. She always offers me a spare ticket.
Yeah.
And I and like the schedule of an artist, like that's
Yeah,
the
it's so
thing with me. I
busy.
never go to see friend shows because I'm always doing my
I
own
know.
thing. So I was not able to see it. Shout out to Kelly. I apologize. Don't take it. Oh, I'm just too busy. But I'm sure it was incredible and she's great. So thank
She
you.
is.
Shout out to
Yeah.
her. Um, Now I wanted to go back to what you said. You talked about early on, you're like, I'm not sure really what to say. I had a very similar experience when I first started helping other actors. It was really like out of necessity, helping friends
Mhm,
and other actors that I knew, because we all need to do this self-tape thing. Back in 2017,
mhm,
before self-tapes were even cool, pre-COVID, we were doing it. And I always had a knack for, because I have a comedy background, I could always give suggestions on how to do something funny, like something physical, a line
mhm,
read, something vocal. But what really stumped me for a long time when it was something that you might call a dramatic scene, I would know when it didn't feel like it wasn't it. Like I'd be like, like I don't, I that doesn't feel like it was it, but I don't know why. And
mhm,
it wasn't until I'm I'm not like you. I didn't start as a child. I started this later in life, and my education was piecemeal workshops, intensive classes, a lot of onset, a lot of short films, a lot of background, and then eventually I went through a full conservatory program that then gave me a framework and a lens where I can look at now. I can look at any script and
mhm,
dial it up and improve it and figure out the storytelling, figure out I can see something and pretty much know instantly either why it's not working or how it could be working better. There's not really a right or
mhm.
wrong. It's like this can just be stronger. No right or
Yeah.
wrong. But there is a weak or strong. So I can really relate to that. And one of the things I learned in conservatory that I didn't think of before was our teaching and coaching was there is no comedy and there is no drama. It's all life, and life
Mhm,
acting is everything. So, in what you might label as the most dramatic thing, that's where it's even more important to find some lightness and some humor and some love. And then the reverse is often what you'd label comedy. Sometimes the funniest things where you're playing it
mhm,
dead straight and dead serious and so much importance and urgency. And that's what makes it funny, but it could even play as a drama. But the best stuff is like you think of a show like Breaking Bad or The Sopranos might be one of the best example where it's super
mhm,
funny, but it's horrendous at the same time. People are getting killed. So yeah, that's my little rant on everything is everything. No,
mhm.
no comedy, no drama, but just there is an eye, and sometimes I think people get confused to be even like what a coach is. A coach really in
Mhm.
any aspect is a person who is extra eyes for you to see your blind spots, to see things
Yeah.
that you might not see. And that's essentially all I'm doing is the person comes into a session and we want to, if they come in at a 7, we want to give them a few creative ideas that might get them to an 8 or 9,
Mhm.
um, that they might look at, that they might not be looking at. Because I'm sure you know this, a lot of times we're actors were sometimes focused on the wrong thing. Like we'll watch a tape and be like, "Oh, I'm doing this thing with my eyebrow here," or "I don't like my how my hair is slightly out of
Yeah.
place." And what we should be paying attention to is the story beats
Yeah.
and we're telling the story and all those kind of things. So, um, yeah, that's that. No more
Yeah,
questions.
I mean, no, no. I mean, I think that's great because it is that idea of like, as you were also saying, and you are constantly promoting as well. Of like you said, you just had a session with me yesterday, and that's so important. As even as a coach, like you should still also have someone being your eyes. Yeah, like of course, as a coach, I'm your outside eye. I'm able to provide like direction and ideas, but like as an actor, I'm like, wait, I don't know what this is. Like, even though when it's someone else doing it, it might be so clear. So being able to take yourself out of the equation and yeah, have someone else be there, regardless of like if you're a coach or not.
Because it's almost impossible to direct yourself because you're
Yeah.
not outside yourself. Yeah, you
Yeah.
can the playback, but it's just there's this weird connection.
Yeah.
It's not unbiased where you have like
Hmm.
an outside objective eye looking at things. What's your favorite thing about working with actors? Or yeah, let me ask that question, then I'll ask the follow-up.
Yeah, I think my favorite thing is that every single person is going to bring themselves to a character, and that's why it's so neat to be even when you're in and like if you can do the same scene as someone and watch how they do it versus how you do it, and it's not as like a competitive thing. It's just like how am I bringing out you in this because that's what sells or what compels us to watching something. Like we're seeing that actor live through these moments, how they would live through these moments, and it's going to be individual to each person. Like the person who's selected for the role is because their own individuality is on the character, regardless that it is a character that's been written and yeah, they have their own backstory, but each person is going to bring something different to that. And I think that's what's so cool about working with different people. And like if you're doing the same tape as someone else, it's going to be a different take. You're not going to be able to like mimic what they're doing, or you can, but it's not going to be very good. So yeah, I guess yeah, it's just the individuality of it all.
I love that. What are some things, do you have some favorite things that you look at or some common things that you feel you've been able to help actors with? Like, are there common mistakes or oversights or just some go-to? Like, I have a few, like, there's always a easy thing is a moment before button that instantly you add those, it makes the scene come to life more. It also makes it very unique because if
Mhm.
they improvised moment before and an improvised moment after or the button, then that ensures that it's going to be different from 100 others. But what are some that you might share?
I don't know if it would be anything like specific, but I really like working through beats of a scene and like trying to figure out like at what point when this line is said, like what shifted in the character that made them feel this way now because as human beings in the way when it's good writing too is how like this person doesn't know they're going to say this like life is improv, like we're improvising a conversation right now, and so when that's
No,
the way to
no,
make
this
it
is all
so
scripted. I scripted all this for you.
oh, sure. I was supposed to tell it. No, no, no. Even the interruptions right there. Yeah, yeah, you got the double dash. And so it's so I think important to try and be like, okay, what happened in between these lines or while this person's saying this that made your character feel this like feel saying this thing? How do you make that fresh? And I find that is so how to do that is by being like, okay, what is the beat? What is the thought process that made this character feel this way before they deliver it?
Yeah, that's great. I mean, that's story structure. That's like
Mhm.
something has to be happening in a story.
Yeah.
It's not just two random people talking. Like there's something. Every scene
Yeah.
is moving the story. Every scene has a
Yeah.
purpose. So then the text detective is figuring out, okay, what's actually going.
Mhm.
We would the my training uses the guidepost framework from the Audition, the
Mhm.
book Audition by Michael
Yeah.
Smith. And so those two things that you speak of to me would be guidepost 6, which are discoveries, which is
Mhm.
what's new, what are you hearing,
Yeah.
seeing for the first time, even if it's just a thought, having a thought, discovering a thought in the moment. And then when those discoveries are strong, they become an event in the scene, which would be guidepost 9. And an event is when something new is so strong that it changes either all the characters or at least one character. Like once that has happened,
Yeah.
once those words have said, everything is different from now on.
Mhm.
So that's a great way to break down a scene. And if you don't do that, yeah, you could people like I've seen actors who they say the lines and I believe them and they look amazing, but the scene just doesn't have the like,
Mhm.
you're not getting the juice out of this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Juice those scenes. That's what you
Just the scene. Yeah. Squeeze
really
it.
got to do.
Squeeze
Uh,
it for all it's worth.
what is your process? So,
Mhm.
you get an audition from your agent. Actually, you know what? Let's have this conversation. We won't name names, anything, but we recently had a conversation where you were looking to make a shift. Can we
Mhm.
talk about that? Because I know that is a common, it's a common
Yeah, for sure.
for actors where they're feeling they're maybe not in the right fit, and what led to
Mhm.
that. And yeah, I think let's break that down.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I like for me, I it's complicated because when you think about your relationship with your agent, it's very like it's important to be on the same page, I think. And I really went into this year with a new mindset. It wasn't like a New Year's resolution or anything. It was just like, okay, I'm at this place right now where I'm kind of shifting what I'm like doing for like work, like money, and making sure that I can live in my apartment. Whereas it is changed in the last few years where it's been very stable, very much like this is the thing. And so while I'm doing that, how can I include more creativity and how can I upgrade to the next level of my career? And I don't think I've really ever had that moment in my like I've just always been kind of being like, okay, what's just the next thing, the next day at a time. Whereas now I'm kind of like, okay, what do I actually want though? What do I want as an actor for this year? What do I want to achieve? And so I just felt that I was able to relay that to my agent at the time and say like these are the things I'm looking for. And I followed up by being like sending her new scenes that I had done, sending her new headshots that I had done, even just inviting her to shows I was doing, and I wasn't getting any response back. And I realized that all agents are going to work differently. And I think sometimes, again, like you're saying, you're an artist, you're doing so many things, and maybe it's just like I wasn't the priority to be participating in that two-way conversation. And her and I had a very good conversation after when we like closed out our relationship and we really still care and respect each other. It was just like, okay, I need someone who's going to be running on the same track with me right now. And I can't be waiting for you to catch up. And she fully like agreed and admitted her lack of participation in my career. And we both kind of saw that on the same page. So it's like, okay, well, I need this to come to a close. I'm not going to just like wait around, and then I can go forward in the next step of my career. So now I'm doing the agent search, but also doing a lot of like introspection on what I can do and what I can work on before I even get into that.
Yeah, it's so important that that relationship just feel like a healthy relationship.
Yeah.
And sometimes it feel this like weird, like passive aggressive, or I don't want to step on any toes, or am I bothering
Hmm.
them? And the main thing, you want to be on the same page with clearly defined goals. Like again, like any other relationship, that this is a good match. I'm getting what I want, you're getting what you want, and it's symbiotic, not
Hmm.
weird. And I know that a lot of actors, they'll have fear over leaving, but it's like fear of leaving a relationship that
That isn't working.
not healthy, and
Hmm.
there's something better for you out there. So it's like, well, I'd rather be with someone rather than the love of
Yeah.
my life. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
the love of my life would be amazing, but for now I got this guy. Like,
Yeah.
it's yeah, and I think so kudos to you for having the courage to do that, but I think it's something that every actor does, and that's going to be real personal too. I think
Hmm.
like some agents are like, well, yeah, no, don't send me emails with all your stuff. I got 100 clients. I'm not
Yeah.
but they would still know what you want and how to
Yeah.
use you, and they're still submitting you and all those things. So congrats on that. Now, getting
Thank
back
you.
to the first question that I wanted to get to was, when your agent or when you find a breakdown, when you get offered an audition, what is your checklist, or like what's your modus operandi from getting it,
Mm.
reporting it?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely will start with the breakdown. I'm very, very much. I will do as much as I can to like be the investigator and take try and get as much information that I can from the breakdown that will then help me uh, figure out more about the character, the scene, what we're doing, what is happening, where are we in the story, who is this character, and how are they servicing the story, and like how am I showcasing that in a scene while still making this scene and this character important without like taking away something from the overall narrative. So I'll first look at the breakdown and see if I can find anything secretly in there about, like, if they even say like, oh, this character is going to be in it for 3 episodes, that gives you something that tells you like, okay, so this character is more important. They have a name, even, like, they're not just like service worker one. And so that will give you context as well. And so then from there, taking a look at the sides, and sometimes you're very lucky and they'll give you literally the sides from the original script with things X'd out, and you'll be like, okay, great. I know this is on page 43 of a full length movie. And so if my character doesn't appear until then I know like at what point in the story this character is necessary to tell. And like, I'm a writer as well, right? So I'm always working with the, like, I don't know what we call the storyboard element thing, I don't know what it's called, the story structure. And so I'm always thinking, okay, well, we're like nearing the climax almost, or we're halfway through the movie, or where are we with that this character is now coming in. And so that will give me a lot of information before I even begin the process of like, okay, now what am I doing? What are we seeing on camera? And so I think that really personally helps me out a lot. So even when I'm like doing coachings and auditions, like, it's helpful for me to see the breakdown when I'm given the stuff and going into a coaching session being like, okay, well, even just like knowing who the casting director is and knowing who the showrunner is and what other work they've done and the tone that you're going to be doing. Because it's something, again, yes, it is comedy and drama. You don't want to be like, I'm going to be a funny guy now. But there is going to be a level of tone that you're going to be putting out there. For instance, like, I know that they're auditioning for one of Mike Flanagan's new show coming up, and he's got a lot of content, or a lot of work out there. So it's very easy for me to be like, okay, let's watch something of his and see what kind of style he has and what he likes to see on camera. And so that will really color the next step, which is now I look at the script. I'm breaking down the script. What are we seeing? And like going into that, like doing the good actor thing and learning my lines, and figuring out, where the intentions are, where the beats are of the scene. And then, just kind of building on that, going to the next thing. Like, I always want a moment before, a moment after, and then playing within that field and seeing what can come out of that.
Mic drop. That was like a audition prep masterclass right there.
You're welcome.
So many great things. So I think anyone who's just listening to that, you can just rewind and listen to it. And if you're skipping any of those steps, those are easy things to just, again, squeeze more juice out of those auditions. I love the idea. It's very smart. And I know a lot of people don't do it, of figuring out what page and where in the story things are.
Yeah.
And it's something that, like, the first time you realize that, and you're like, oh, yeah, of course. If I'm been given 3 scenes over the course of a film, and one is in act 1, one is act 2, one is act 3, I'd be like, no, this is the climax. And you can sometimes clearly be like, why have they given you these 3 scenes? Well, maybe they're with 3 different people, so you're playing 3 different relationships, but you're also playing 3 different parts in the story that serve different purposes in the story. So you have a bit of a writer's brain, bit of a director's brain that serves you really well as an actor. So, or if you don't want to do that as an actor, then that is the reason you hire a coach like Hools, so that Hools will ask these questions. Where are we in the story? What's going on? Is this the climax? Is this the opening scene? All of those things. And the other thing, there was one other that, as you're talking, I'm like logging. Looking for the background, like looking, who is the writer, who is the producer, who's the showrunner, the director. Look at their body of work for 2 reasons. That helps you fit into the world. Again, you're not really like, we don't want to encourage people to be like thinking, what do they want? But you need to know a little bit about what you're signing up for, and why shouldn't you? It's like, it also gets you excited about it. I like doing that because I'm like, oh, they did this. Oh shit, this was the guy on that. He produced this. And then you go on IMDb, you realize maybe you got some mutual friends, and next thing you know, it's like, oh shit, you worked with so and so. Fuck, I love that thing. And just gets the juices excited in me, rather than it being just this ambiguous, untitled project or whatever, and you're like, these are just words on a paper. But when you start connecting some of those dots, real humans to the project, you get excited. Also, I like to think in terms of who they're looking for. If I'm producing, writing, creating a show, I would want people submitting who are fucking pumped and have done some research, and they're like, "Oh, I love that thing that you did, and I know you did that, and oh, this is going to be like this show." Like they're just more invested. So if
Mhm.
I saw an audition from someone like that versus someone who clearly had no clue
Mhm.
what the tone was, like imagine the tone, like a show like Breaking Bad versus like Murdoch Mysteries.
Yeah,
Like those are
very
two
different.
different worlds. If you're in the wrong world, if you're a Murdoch inside Breaking Bad or Breaking Bad inside Murdoch, you don't fit. So it's just gonna
Mhm.
this person again. They look great, they got a voice, but just out to lunch, no
Mhm.
clue. Like what show are you even in? So
Yeah, yeah.
I love that. Like those two things is just little
Mhm.
things that elevate elevate the performance. Anything else that you want to share from auditions? Any tips?
I think a good thing that I always go back to and try and remind myself of as well is that when you're submitting for an audition, the casting director wants you to do well. Like their job is to bring the best people forward to the director. So they want you to do well. They don't want to have to keep looking. So reminding yourself that when you're submitting is like, it is actually very humbling because you're like, oh, like, yes, they want to be bringing people that are good. So like it's so easy to be like, no, there's so many people submitting. It doesn't matter what I do. No, no, no. No, they're asking people to audition because they don't have anyone right now. And they want to be selecting someone. They do want to be watching a tape and be like, oh, thank God. That's exactly what we're looking for. So that is helpful. At least it helps me ground myself when I'm auditioning because it is so easy to be like lost in a sea of hundreds of people. But ultimately, they need to pick someone. There is a job available.
Right. Yeah. So you can be the solution to their problem. And the problem is they need to find this human being to fit this written character. So
Yeah.
you be that human being. I had an actor in today, and she was like, I don't even know if I should say this, but I don't feel I'm even ready for this. And it was a big role. It was like
Mhm.
getting some leads in some Hallmark type films, and she's comparing herself to other IMDb resumes. And
Mm,
there's people who have done 20 Hallmarks, and who am I? And I'm like, you can think that, but I don't know if that's going to be helpful. You're getting the auditions. The casting director and your agent have brought it in. Now, I suggested to her use that fear or that voice as a prompt to be like, well, if I'm feeling like I'm not ready, what is it I could be doing to become
mhm.
more ready? So maybe it does inform you that fear is, do you need more rehearsal? Do you need another class?
Yeah.
But you don't want to put it out to the universe that, no, I don't want these dream roles in dream
Yeah.
projects, because the flip side to that is there's thousands of other actors that would kill for that audition.
Mm,
And then you get it and you're like, oh, I don't know, I'm not ready for these. I just want these just give me those one-liners till I'm ready for a lead role. It's like,
I
well,
know.
the universe seems to be saying that you're ready.
Yeah.
You've gotten three of these in a row. So how
Yeah.
how can you get ready? Like there's a lot of self-talk thing. Like
Oh, yeah.
I think there's so many great actors, and it's not acting ability often that holds people back. It's all the mental game and just like
Yeah.
general life shit that takes us down. So the more you can clean up in your brain and
Mm,
be positive and keep your personal power too.
mm,
You were mentioning like just the yeah, just if you go into it being like, oh, who am I? Or this isn't right for me. That's a weird
mhm.
about. You hear actors do that all the time. Ah, I'm not right for this.
Yeah.
That's why they brought you in. Maybe you're off type. So they're like, I'm
Yeah.
gonna bring in 50 of these people and like five wild cards. And you look at a breakdown, you're like, I'm not this guy at all. And you're like, great. Maybe you're gonna stand out from the 50 other guys
Yeah.
exactly the same. So
Yeah.
just yeah, believe in yourself a little more, I think is the message to our listeners. Uh,
Yeah.
any advice to your past artist self, your younger self?
I think I can always, even to this day, be more compassionate with the work and that I've done, like honoring the accomplishments that I have done. And while, if you look at my resume on a page or if some crazy, like high end production producing like Universal Studios is looking at it, they're like, what is this? None of this matters. But I need to be very kind to myself because I have done a lot of work to get to where I am, and I am very proud of the work that I've done, regardless of whatever the standards of our industry want to be. So I think, yeah, if I could be kinder and say that, yeah, to my younger self, like uh, appreciate what you are doing, the work that you are doing, and like really like honor that.
Yeah. Yeah, you bring that up. I was going through my own commercial reel, which I don't like.
Mhm.
And it's funny because at one point commercials was like, oh, amazing! I'm on set, I'm getting paid. Oh shit, I'm
Yeah,
on TV. And then eventually
yeah,
they become oh commercials.
yeah.
I'm a real actor. I don't want to do commercials.
Hmm.
But I still do them and I still love them. But I was looking at my own reel, being like, yeah, kid, you done some cool stuff. And a couple ones that I had forgotten about, and I had remembered, like, oh, I remember how fucking jazzed I was when this got on. And then I get messages from family and friends. They're like,
Yeah.
I was in an airport and I saw your stupid little Caesars pizza thing come up and how cool it felt. And
Mhm.
that it's a common trap. There's a book called The Gap and the Gain. I recommend
Oh.
it to everyone, The Gap and the Gain. And the thesis of it is we're all wherever we are now, and then we're some vision or dream or goal of where we want to be. And we often make the mistake of we measure ourselves on the gap of where we are now
Mhm.
to where we want to be. But the trap is we also move the goal the further and the longer you've been
Mhm.
in something, you just keep throwing the goal at. I want to make more money. I want bigger roles. I want to be in a movie now. And so you spend your life in this gap of oh, I don't have what I want. Rather than the people who spend their more of their time in the gain, they look at, look how far I've come, look how far I've accomplished, the gratitude of look at everything I have versus the gap. And so
Mhm.
the thesis is spend more time in the gain versus the gap. And if you stay in the gap, you just have a miserable life. Even if on the outside, you could be a millionaire, you could be an A-lister, you could have all the Emmys, Tonys, Grammys, Oscars that you possibly could have, but you're just never fucking happy because it's
Yeah.
always the next
Yeah.
thing. So yeah, it's so huge to do that.
Mm.
Where can people connect with you?
Yeah, probably Instagram is probably the best. I'm Hook Slay Bay. Uh, I'm just going by that. Or you could check out my website, I guess. I think I have my contact info on there too. It's just hoolskay.com,
Great.
which might be easier to remember, but
We'll connect it in the show notes as well. So we're gonna wrap it up. We're gonna bring this audition ship back into port here. Thank you so much for being with us.
thank
Thank
you.
you for sharing your unique journey. Again, love your energy, love your enthusiasm. I think you're a fantastic human. Clearly an artist and an actor, and also a great coach. So I really appreciate you working with us and working with our clients. You can book Hools online when you book a session. And a couple final things here. If you are a professional or emerging film and theater actor, or maybe you're a director, you're a casting director, you're a producer, if you're making bold moves in the industry, then I would love to chat with you. We interview pros at all different stages in their career, where you can share your practical tips, your advice, your wisdom, and especially some inspiration and motivation for others. And you can apply to be a guest on a future episode at insidetheaudition.com. That's insidetheaudition.com. If you scroll to the bottom, you'll see the apply to be a guest button. And remember as well that mastering and showcasing powerful monologues is the most effective way to showcase your talent so that you can attract audiences, attract agents, casting directors, and ultimately attract and book your next lead role. And you can get started with us at the Monologue of the Month Club at monologueclub.com, because every audition is a potential opportunity to not only showcase your unique talents to the world, but it could be your opportunity to land that next life-changing role. And so if you want to get a little extra help, you want to get a outside eye, some objective coaching to see some blind spots, you can book professional coaching 7 days a week from anywhere in the world. Just go to actorsauditionclub.com and we'll help you shoot a standout audition in less time so that you can book that next lead role. So thank you for tuning in today. We'll see you next time on Inside the Audition.